Hey y'all. So today I thought let's talk about the number one question I think most creatives ask themselves, and it is, what is my style? How do I find my style? I've seen so many videos on the subject, and I feel like they all boil down to the same thing, and I'm just going to tell you what I've figured out from my own experiences. The secret to finding your style is making a ton of shit. It's just making a lot of art, you guys, a lot of art. I mean, continuous, nonstop sketching, drawing, painting, whatever your medium is, whatever you like to do, explore it. Make things, and don't just start things, finish things. That really seems to help me so much. My work grew substantially, exponentially, even whenever I started applying that thought. Was just finish your painting, finish your drawing, finish whatever it is you're starting here. And it really has been an imperative sort of mindset to finish what I start and to start a lot of things, because I really had no idea what my style was when I got back to art. It had been years since college. I had done lots of other jobs after that. And then I kind of dipped my toe back into art when I got into body art. I was learning so much about henna that I really just, I guess I was learning from a lot of other people at the time when I learned henna. So having a style wasn't so important. It was something that I understood from other artists and what they had told me that I would find along the way. Eventually, I would find flower shapes that I enjoyed more than others. I'd start to add flourishes that other artists didn't do. I'd start to gravitate towards certain motifs and compositions. And eventually, the more I would do it, the more I would start to see that happening. The more I would go, oh, yeah, I guess I always do that kind of flower. Oh, yeah, I always add swirls, don't I? And I realized that this was distinctive because not every artist does that. But I couldn't have seen that unless I had done a whole bunch of work and figured out, I don't like geometric shapes. I like flowy ones. Or I don't like tight, intricate, traditional patterns. I like looser, more Western, floral sort of shapes. But I couldn't have figured that out unless I had done it. So I do think it's really important when you are seeking out your style. And again, everybody does this. Everybody has that question. What is it? What is it about my work that's distinctive? And you really aren't going to have anything distinctive happen with your work until you've really done a lot of it. And then by people looking at your whole overall body of work, they can absolutely pull out your style. They can absolutely recognize it. But you can't tell someone's style from two works of art that are half finished. And when I realized that, it hit me pretty hard, y'all. I'm not going to lie, because I had a lot of half finished stuff sitting around my studio that I was kind of proud of. But the truth was, I could have gone harder on each of those things, and I would have learned a lot along the way to completing each of those pieces. So that's where I started. When I came back to painting, I picked up every piece of canvas and board and paper that I had started, and I went through them methodically and started knocking things out. They were not amazing. I'm not going to lie, they were not good. But some of them started to emerge as kind of interesting. And then I kind of realized I had made several in a particular style. After painting a few pieces, there were some that looked like they belonged together. They looked almost like a collection. And then I would kind of lean into that. Well, what else would be in a collection with these pieces in it? And it allowed me to kind of view what a collective grouping of my own art looked like. So then I started working on sets and just trying different things. And some of it was really fun and interesting, and I sold a bit. And there's other stuff that I eventually threw in the garbage, and that's totally fine. That is part of the journey, I think. And you need to be comfortable with failure if you're going to be an artist, because failure is how you learn. Failure is how you get better. Failure is how you know what you do and don't want. So for me, I think it was really important to figure out my style, to make a bunch of bad art so that eventually I could find, like, oh, here's the good art. Here's the good art that I do. This is better. This is quality. This is skilled. And it's, it's intentional. And as I expanded my own art and moved into mandalas, tons of artists do mandalas. Thousands of artists across the globe do mandalas. So my thought was, what is distinctive about my style? And I pulled henna elements that I enjoyed, and that definitely gave it kind of my style. And I realized that I liked particular elements like nature, like bugs and flowers. So I started bringing those in. I started playing with paints, and different paint types produce different sorts of effects. And so I explored various paints and found that I like to play with lighting styles. I like to play with light reactive paints like metallics and such that hit the light and look different in different lighting. And that's really helped me develop my style. I've moved into some fandom subject matter, and people really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. Just being a fan and getting to paint something I care about is always fun. But I definitely feel like now, looking at my whole collection of work, that even my more traditional mandalas still stand out. I do try to lean heavily towards my more whimsical mandalas because I'm not trying to take up spaces for traditional art. I would like to leave that space for people who come from ancient practices and such. So I keep my stylings very particular to the West. And but now I think that you can look at my mandalas probably and tell they are different from other artists' mandalas, and my interpretations are certainly, I think they're unique in a certain way. But more than anything, I know that in my own city, when I do an art show, everyone knows who the mandala artist is, or everyone knows from just seeing my work that my name is attached to it, which is really just wild. It used to be I was the henna lady, and now I'm the mandala girl. So that's cool. I'm into that. I think eventually in a few years I will probably be some other kind of lady, doing some other kind of art. But yeah, I think that whatever I do, the way to know that what I bring to it is unique is to have a large pile of it. And I think that that is really the distinctive factor in figuring out what your style is. You need a lot of work to know what your style is. Again, a few doodles in a notebook is not style, it's exploration, and you haven't settled into anything at that point. So style is really just kind of where you settle in and what is comfortable for you. What do you like painting too? Something I've learned about stylings is if I don't like painting something, I really don't need to promote it. I don't need to share it if I don't like it, because if I don't like painting it, if it was hard work or it was labor intensive or it was a tricky design or I just wasn't pleased with it, I generally won't share it as eagerly as I share the other ones, simply because usually my pictures generate further requests. People get ideas from seeing what I've posted and go, hey, could you do this in pink? Hey, I really like this one. Could you make another one? So if it's a painting I don't like and don't want to do again, I don't want to get it out there for other people to ask me to spend more time doing that thing that I don't like. So with your style, you're also in charge. You also get to cultivate what you enjoy doing. Yes, there's a compromise where you want to please your crowd. You want to cater to your folks, especially your supporters, if they want to see something particular from you. But you also get to control what they see in the first place. So if you like something and you really enjoy something, you can put it out there and somebody will like it. So I do think with your style, it's important to not just develop a style that is unique, but also one that you really like to do a lot, because I have had nonstop requests for mandalas for 3 years. I haven't painted much else. I haven't done a whole lot of other things besides I do some headdresses and some body work and henna things, obviously, but I paint all the time. So I'm really glad that I like it. Even with henna, I really enjoyed it, but I got really burnt out because it's very physical. And painting gives me a bit more control over my workflow and my work hours. I can work when I'm inspired rather than the hours the festival is open. So that's very helpful to me for conserving my energy and putting it in the right places. But still, if I'm going to spend all this time painting, I want to make sure it's paintings I like. Where I live, football is king. And I've had many people suggest that if I want to make a lot of money, I need to do some football-based things. And while I staunchly agree, absolutely, that would be a great way to make money, I don't know if I'd want to spend my time that way. doing football things when I personally don't enjoy football at all. So if I put out one or two paintings that were football themed, it's very likely that somebody else is going to request that, and I'm not going to really enjoy the time I spend painting it. So that's not fair to me. That's not fair to my clients either. I want them to know that I was happy and really enjoyed making that piece of art for them. So, I get to control that. And I think that's something artists forget, is that you get to decide what your audience wants from you. You tell them what they want, essentially. But that's not to say I don't still take requests that I am hesitant to do or that I don't enjoy personally. I definitely have done some things that weren't my jam, but man, they made that person so happy, and it was really fun for me to do something different, and I learned a lot, and that's enough of that. So it was I'm never sad about doing a painting. I never regret doing a painting. I never think I've done a painting and it's bad just because I don't like the subject matter. But I would still rather cater my workflow to include things that I really enjoy painting. So that's where the fandom collections came in, because those are really enjoyable for me. I really like doing those. It's been tricky finding the audience for that. I had hoped to do some pop culture cons, and obviously with the year we had this past year, that was not even possible for me to explore. So I'm still hoping to do that one day. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep leaning into what I'm doing and, making sure I'm really fine tuning my style. I think that's really important once you establish what your style is, to really go hard at it and make sure that people can really, really tell it's your stuff. And that does require some level of consistency. Please don't get the wrong idea. If you are an inconsistent artist and you like just making random things that are not necessarily cohesive, I'm not knocking that at all. Do your thing. What I am saying, though, is when somebody thinks about your style, they're going to think about a running theme, a particular set of elements, a color scheme, particular shapes, or painting methods. So if you give them some sculpture and some paintings and some pencil drawings, they might not be able to tell on first glance that that's all your work. Whereas if it was all a bunch of yellow and red paintings, that would probably look like those belonged all to the same artist. So yeah, I guess think about what you want to do while you're developing your style and lean into those elements, develop those skills, try to learn more about it. Yeah. Sorry, this was a little bit longer one because I have a lot to say, I guess. But I hope it was helpful. Let me know. Let me know if you're struggling to find your style, or if you found it, or if you've even changed styles. That's totally a thing too. I'd love to hear. Thanks for joining me, guys.